Yo, what's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's going on out there, y'all? Wow. Trying to see what's good with y'all. Wow, Teddy. Oh, yo, everybody jumping in. That was crazy. What's good? What's good? Good to see y'all people coming in. I'm Datwon Thomas, editor-in-chief of Vibe Magazine. About to do our IG live today. I see all the hearts going up. Keep them going. Keep them going for Nip, too. We talking about the great Nipsey Hussle. You know, what up, Yvonne? Yeah. We're going to be speaking with the amazing author, actually former, Farad was good. Former features editor of Vibe Magazine, my good friend, Rob Kenner. He's just the bro. My man Joe up in here. What up? What up? Yeah, and spread the live. Let everybody know we here. What up, Pretty Lou? Salute. You know, happy belated B-Day. Up, there go Rob right there. We gonna get him in. We gonna get him. Let's see what's good. I'll talk to our bro real quick. You know what I mean? This is his new book. What's good, bro?
You got the good book in your hand.
I got the good book, and I've been lucky enough to have mine signed by you, sir.
Right.
The love.
It's only right, man. That one is special.
It's only right, man. It's only right. How you been, bro?
I've been blessed and overwhelmed, man. It's been a really, really amazing week. And I'm just really happy that we could bring it back to the foundation for this, because this is a special convo. So thank you.
This is the foundation, man. And when you speak of foundation, just to let everyone know, this is Rob Kenner, the amazing author, biographer, producer, documentarian, founder of Boom Shots. Yes, liquor shot.
Legal shot. Legal.
There we go. Like Rob, just let the people know, like, briefly about your history with Vibe and how everything started.
Well, I heard about Vibe magazine when I was working at an art magazine. My dream was always to work at Rolling Stone. Like, that was the only thing that I could think of to bring my love of music and writing together. And Rolling Stone never offered me an opportunity. But then I heard that Quincy Jones was going to start a monthly music magazine, that he wanted to be like the hip hop Rolling Stone. And something inside me said, I need to go after this relentlessly. And so I used to mail letters with stamps to the editor of Vibe that had been announced in a trade journal and magazine week. And so I would write Jonathan Van Meter a letter, and I was always saying, I'm sure that you are going to cover a lot of different kinds of music, but you need to cover reggae. And
yeah,
I love reggae, and I think I have some ideas that might be helpful. And so I was pitching a Super Cat story at the time. This was 1992, man. Don Dada. Yeah. And he was
on fire.
Yeah, he remains my favorite artist in dancehall, to be honest with you. And anyway, so I had the opportunity to write that story after bombarding Jonathan with pitches. And, that piece came out in the test issue, which was Tretch on the cover, for those that had in the crate. And
whoever got that one, they winning.
That one is a little bit rare at this point. But so a year later, timing gave Vibe the green light, and I was offered a position on the startup team in '93.
Right.
That was the adventure of a lifetime. So I always have to thank Quincy Jones for having the vision to start this magazine, which you are at the helm of. And it's just been a blessing all the way.
Yo, man, just understanding how much Vibe has changed your life, changed my life. I started here as an intern in '96, And when I got there, I was able to see you, and your office wasn't too far from the intern's office. So we always used to come and check you. You was always playing music, always editing, just always working, and just always having like that vision of this is what the brand should be. It should be broader than just the myopic scope that people thought. But what was so ill was that even back then, you were just this infinite knowledge of reggae music. And if people were to look at you, I know you get this sometimes, people were to look at you, they wouldn't necessarily think this dude knows everything about Buju Banton. You know what I'm saying? Where did that love come from?
I think, you know, I heard Bob Marley's music when I was a high school student growing up in Baltimore. And,
right.
you know, and the Harder They Come soundtrack, which I just heard the other day, has been inducted into the Library of Congress or something. These are
wow.
Yeah, these are the records that changed my thinking and you know, sent me down a path. But then when I was in college in Chicago, I was going to a Burning Spear concert, and at that time I was a little naive, and so I showed up at the time and said on the flyer, you know, and
like what, 8 o'clock? No, I'm just playing.
Early. So I was sitting in a club on the south side of Chicago. It looked like Saturday Night Fever. It had the lights, a disco ball, lights on the floor and everything, and a sound system from Chicago called Talus Hi-Fi.
Wow.
Slang Tang Rhythm had just come out, and for those that don't know, the Slang Tang Rhythm is like a digital computer rhythm that changed the whole sound of dancehall. And I came to hear Burning Spear, which is horn section, live drums, and it was dancehall reggae computerized for like 5 hours straight. And
wow.
I kind of lost my mind at that moment. Like, it just blew me out of the frame. And after that, I was like on a mission to learn more about dancehall. Took my first trip to Jamaica in, like, you know, 85, Reggae Sunsplash.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that was it, man. I just, you know.
You went to a mid-'80s Sunsplash?
85 was my first trip to Jamaica.
Woo.
Yeah, Reggae Sunsplash. Yep. And I heard
incredible.
Half Pint. All these records still play till this day. You can't go to a dance and not hear those records that I heard the first time I went to Jamaica. And it just sparked something in me. I can't explain it. And, you know, we're going to talk about Nipsey Hussle and hip-hop and everything because it all connects back. But I just want to say, like, when you say people don't understand when they see me, something happened that I just have to share. I was trying to do a photo shoot at one point with Vibes Cartel and Movado.
Right.
When, just as you well know, the verses between Bounty Killer and Beanie Man, we rolled that out. Thanks to you reaching out to Boom Shots, you know, we made a connection, and
thank you.
Boom Shots rolled out the Bounty and Beanie verses like no other platform. Boom Shots times Vibe in collaboration, and you know, Reshma B did her interview with Beanie and Bounty the day before the clash, and part of the imagery that made that clash, you know, that battle so legendary was this photo that you see Beanie and Bounty sitting side by side, making the Rasta handshake sign, you know, between them. Yeah. And, you know, that photo was taken at a Vibe photo shoot, and people might not know.
Yes, indeed.
You know, but we documented that moment, and, you know, obviously.
Yes, history.
Yeah, their rivalry is legendary, and, you know, there's only a handful of photos of, like, Big and Pac chilling together, and, you know, so Bounty and together on that occasion was very, very meaningful. And I remember so well seeing them cool with each other that day. And I was like, can we just take this picture, please? And I asked my brother, Johnny Wonder was on the set that day, and he said a word to Killa, and, you know, we made it happen. And, you know, that image has become like an indelible record of that moment. And so anyway, I was trying to create something like that with Cartel and Movado, because obviously the Gaza and Gully thing was very real, and, you know, very serious rivalry. But I knew, as with many of these rivals, they're actually friends in the beginning. You know, the friendship there.
And they have a respect for each other, for their talent and stuff. Yeah.
100%. And, you know, I felt like it would be a positive contribution to try to, you know, just show people that, you know, like, fans are going against fans of each other, of these two artists, and maybe they need to realize that deep down, you know, Adidja Palmer and David Brooks are actually respectful friends if they're going through some issues right now. So they both agreed to do that shoot, and I was trying very hard to make that happen, and unfortunately we weren't able to do it. But in the process of making that effort, I went to a nightclub that Cartel owns called the Quad. It's in New Kingston, right on Nussel Boulevard, right there, not too far from like the Pegasus Hotel if you've been to Kingston. Anyway, so inside the Quad, Cartel is the boss. He's standing by the side of the stage, and I'm in there just to meet with him and say, so Cartel, we're going to do the shoot tomorrow. Movado's in. Just need you to come. And he's like, yeah, man. You know, when I finally talked to him, he said, we got to do it in my club. And that ended up being an issue. Whatever, it didn't happen. But in the process that night, I'm in the crowd, only white face in the Quad. And you know that scene in The Nutty Professor when Dave Chappelle is on stage and he's clowning?
Yes.
You know, Eddie Murphy in the audience. So I was that guy. And the host, the comedian is like, you know, killing time. Right. And he's like, oh, I see my friend. Where are you from? You know, he's just like fucking with me. And and I'm like just shaking my head. And I look over at Cartel, and Cartel is dying laughing because he knows me. And we've spoken on a number of occasions. So he knows that I'm actually not who I appear to be. Or who this guy thought I was. And so he finally invites me up on stage, you know, the comedian. He's like, come on. So I go up there, and I'm like, you know, playing the role. And then he hands me the mic. He's like, you know, what's your name, sir? Where you from? And I was like, whopping to you, boy. And
that whole crowd go crazy.
Yeah. So that was a moment that I wish somebody had a camera phone for that one. But, you know, it's, it's been a blessing to be part. And actually on the day after the Good Morning America interview, on the day when the Marathon Don't Stop was published this Tuesday on March 23rd, I was invited to be on CVM Sunrise, which is basically like the Jamaican equivalent of Good Morning America, Good Morning Jamaica, and had a nice conversation with them. So, you know, it's an honor to have been embraced by the reggae and dancehall community, and, you know, Boom Shots continues to show and prove that we love that culture, and it deserves to be held up alongside all the great music of the world.
Of course, heralded, you know, started as a column in Vibe, like you were able to carry the brand into this new legacy. One of the things, though, since we're talking about history real quick before we get into the book, this isn't your first time working on books. Like, that was your thing at Vibe as well. As much as you wrote covers and edited everyone, and I gotta add, there's been some amazing writers who've told me, like, yo, if you can't, I would love to have Rob edit this with me. You know, just your name would come out because they have like this comfortability with you where they know you can push them, but you'll also get their voice heard. And that's like the saving grace of the best editors. That's just like the best thing that you can have someone say. So I just got to tell you that. But
thank you.
Some of the books, can you name some of the books that you worked with Vibe?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first Vibe book was called Tupac Shakur. And it was basically like a compilation of all of our coverage of his remarkable career and tragic, you know, demise and legacy. And so we basically compiled a lot of the work that we had done in the pages of Vibe. And that one became actually a New York Times bestseller. So I didn't put that book together, but most of the articles I had touched, you know, along the way. I, at that time, you know, put that project together. But then there was a Vibe History of Hip Hop, which Alan also edited, and I wrote the reggae chapter on that. And then when Alan had moved on, I took over responsibility for Vibe Books, and we did Hip Hop Divas, which was, you know, a survey of the female stars in hip hop. You know, of course, our Vibe sister and Clover Hope has done
Clover
update on that with the Mother Love. It's an important book that people need to check out. But then after that, you know, a very special one was called Unbelievable, which is the biography of Christopher Wallace, aka the Notorious B.I.G. And I wrote the proposal for that and worked on it with Cheo Hodari Coker. And
Yeah.
of course, he did a lot of very important cover stories for Vibe over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were doing his bio in the book, I remember he was already in LA and writing scripts, and we decided that we would describe him as a hip hop journalist turned Hollywood screenwriter. And in fact,
wow,
he ended up co-writing the screenplay for
Notorious.
Yeah, which was
yes.
book Unbelievable was option to create the film Notorious. What I heard, they put our book on the table in the meeting with the studio and said, there is a real story here, and Cheo had the opportunity to write that, co-write that screenplay. So, he became
amazing
a screenwriter, and now it's Luke Cage and Amazon and all this other stuff. So, it's
big deal.
Yeah,
he's a big deal. That's our brother, man. Big deal. What up, Cheo?
Man, it's amazing. Just this moment in rolling out the Marathon Don't Stop has really been an opportunity for me to just reflect on the journey to this point, and
of course,
one of the stories that I keep telling in every conversation, and it would only be right to say it here today, is that I met Nipsey Hussle in the offices of Vibe magazine. That was where it all began.
There you go.
So I'm not just somebody popping up to just write about somebody because it's
you there. Hold on, people. Let's work with him. He outside. He out in the world. Let's work with him. Let's see how it go for him. Well, just to speak on his behalf, while his whole thing is buffering, Rob and I, we sat on a panel on BET about the life of Nipsey Hussle, along with Steve Lobel, who was on his management team, 400 Breezy, our man Sue Surf. We're gonna get him back. But we were on that panel, and it was clear that Rob just had like this deep reverence, for Nipsey. And it just wasn't a thing for him to just, Nipsey passed away. He's the hot name to go ahead and do something with. This is something that's deep in his heart. And I wanted him to tell you all about his track record. So, he worked on the Tupac book. He worked on, all right, Rob, let's get you in. There we go. We got you. Hey, what is it? Trunk Boy DZ, you just got the book? That's what's up. I got mine too. I'm still going through it. Oh man, I don't know, Rob. Try it again, Rob. I just jumped you in. Up 44 B Dog. That's what's up. Glad you got the book. I see you got the Nipsey All Money In avatar. That's what's up. What up, Pac-Man? All right. TMC for life. That's real. Word up. Strong, Beautiful, Independent. You're gonna love the book. I'm definitely gonna love it. What up, Tilsa? We Talking Magazine. Everybody follow We Talking Magazine as well. As we wait for the amazing journalist, author, documentarian, our man Rob Kenner, speaking on the Marathon Don't Stop, the life and times of Nipsey Hussle. Hey, Superman 1060. All right, you got your book coming tomorrow. That's what's up. Tell your people about it. Jay Reynolds was good. All right. That's what's up. All right, let's get you in again, Rob. Let's see if it go. Let's see. What up, D? What up, D? Yeah, All Money In. They've been down for a while. Okay, Rob, I don't know what's going on, bro.
Just text him.
I can hear you, but we can't see you. Oh, man, let's try again. Yo, Rob, try it. Jump out and then jump back in. Oh, there you go.
Hey. Yep.
Okay, good. There we go, Rob.
I have to tell you, my phone has crashed a lot this week. And the reason being...
Right when you need it, right?
No, but yeah, and I appreciate you rocking with me, but everybody, the amount of DMs, the amount of, if you look in the Instagram stories, it's never been, you know, when the dots look like grains of sand at the top. Like, we're trying to actually, you know, interact with every single person that has hit us up.
That's right.
It's only right. Like, this is a one-to-one conversation, and the response has been humbling. It's been overwhelming. And anyway, I had to pick up my backup phone to get back on.
There we go.
The other one is,
you gotta have the two. Yeah. Gotta have number two. That's what's up, man. But to jump into the book now, you know, you left off saying that this wasn't just something that, oh, this is somebody that everyone's talking about and all this newfound fame for him, after people started to see, like, you know, his charitable efforts and what he was doing in the hood and all the good things that he was doing that he was shining light on, but everyone didn't get it. You didn't just jump on that. This is something that was deep for you. And why so?
Well, in the early mixtape run, Bullets Ain't Got No Name Volume 2, Nipsey Hussle came up to the Wall Street offices of Vibe to present his tape to the staff. And I was struck immediately by his poise, his magnetism, his charisma, and just the way that he presented himself. You know, he's just so personable, so, you know, amazingly just energized about his music. He was going to connect with every single person in that room that day. And I was just reminiscing actually with Memsor, our fashion editor at the time, who also, you know, shares an African heritage. And he chatted with Nip during the, you know, the meet and greet, I guess you would call it, that day. And he said, you know, well, my family is from West Africa. And Nip was like, oh, yeah, well, my dad is from East Africa, from Eritrea. And they had this great combo. And, you know, Memsor, you know, was so impressed by just how personable and just the opposite of whatever the stereotype of, you know, gangster rapper and whatever is. And, you know, he still made no, you know, had no qualms about stating the fact that, you know, he was representing Slauson and Crenshaw, and, you know, he was presenting some very hard music. He, you know, the track I remember from that day is the Dre Jackin' for Beats. And if you haven't listened to that lately, you need to go back to Volume 2, which is a real classic mixtape. And hearing him flow over Gin and Juice, that's not a beat to play with. You have to actually be able to say something that sound like, just listen back to that track, man. And, you know, so at that time, you remember in hip hop, it was Teach Me How to Dougie and Do the Stanky Leg, and, you know, swag and surf and all that stuff, which is great. You know, no shade, but it was very refreshing to hear some hard LA rap the way Nip put it down. And I had a strong sense of deja vu because, of course, we did the first Snoop cover in '93, you know, and you know, I just felt this was an important artist. And so I took him aside in our you know, in that afternoon, and I just said, you know, keep doing what you're doing. We're going to give you all the strength you can, you know, that we can. And I found out later while researching the book that he had actually been trying to get into the Office of Vibe for a long time. He'd been trying to get that next, you know, the next section. You remember? So that was that was the new artist section where Mary J. Blige and Outkast got their first.
Iggy, Nas, everybody.
Exactly. And so, you know, that was the goal that young Hermes Askedom set. And like every goal, he persisted and, you know, stuck with it until he accomplished his goal. And I learned later from people I spoke with that he was a little salty that we were not getting back to him, you know, his headshots and his demos. And at the time, he wasn't signed. And honestly, you know, the artists that we were featuring there usually did have record deals. It wasn't like unsigned hype in the source. It wasn't like straight off the street. They were street. You could have been street, but the industry got you a little bit. Exactly. So that was the next level launching pad. But anyway, he did not let that slow him down. And it's a metaphor for this whole marathon vision that he had, you know, that any obstacle in his path was a speed bump and not a brick wall. And he overcame that. And he found a way to get up in the Office of Vibe. And that was a victory lap in itself for him just to be in the room that day. You know, and he got his page. He got his one-page look before the magazine folded. And frankly, at the time, Vibe did not have a very strong digital strategy. and was soon
Nope.
out of business. But Nip's digital strategy was on point, and he was on the way up.
He was there.
Yeah.
He was rocking. He had the, you know, Proud to Pay that was coming up, and you know, being able to digitally get his projects and all that. And then he was also giving people, like, if you bought it online, you could get tickets and merch and all of that stuff, which birthed the whole marathon store.
And
then
don't forget,
innovations.
They call that now a bundle. It's now a strategy that Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift and all these pop acts are doing. And, you know, it was Nipsey Hussle's idea. Just let the record show that he was a visionary, disrupted the whole business model of selling music. Because, look, his career launches at a moment when Napster has everybody downloading music for free. The whole recording industry basically imploded at that point. And, you know, he said in interviews, like, you know, it's as if you were taking off in a jet and you had to fix the plane in midair, you know, like,
why you going? Why you going? You know? And what you gotta love about him, man, is that I think now, of course, and this usually happens with really talented rappers. Yes, in the freshman cover, I was gonna bring that up, Trunk. I think what happens with talented rappers, all of their catalog gets revered later.
Yeah.
And you start to hear the nuances in how visionary they were in lyrical, you know, dominance or whatever. But now as I start to listen to his stuff, because I listened to it back then, and I always thought he was an accomplished MC. While I was the editor-in-chief at the time of Respect magazine.
Yes, you
I
were.
put him and Yo Gotti on the cover because of their brilliance of saying, like, hey, we're going to take our, you know, work and talent and do it for us. No label. We're just going to do it for us. And I thought that was so incredible. And that conversation, you can tell he was just on another level in the business aspect. So I always looked at him like a rapper he was an activist that just happened to know how to rap.
Yeah.
You know,
that is true.
Really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did you find in your research for the book about the activist side of him?
Well, there was a lot of things that came to the forefront. It was a voyage of discovery for me. As much as I felt I was tapped in already, the levels that were revealed were crazy. One of the things that I learned was that obviously in his neighborhood, there was not a particularly positive relationship between the LAPD and the community in the Crenshaw district. And, you know, even before he was involved in the street life, you know, there was, you know, police brutality going on. I mean, remember, he grew up in the aftermath of the Rodney King uprising. He grew up in, you know, listening to the Chronic as a, you know, 7-year-old. You know, the soundtrack around him. And when you listen back to the Chronic, that, you know, the Rodney King uprising is all in the album. And, you know, that's part of the book, was trying to place that all in context, you know, that he grew up in that environment and there was reasons why he made the choices he made. But, you know, even before he was like all the way involved, like as a kid, there was stories of him, you know, coming to, you know, like vigils for someone who was, you know, lost their life in an incident with police in the neighborhood, and, you know, watching conflicts between, you know, like the Nation of Islam members that were representing for whoever had passed and the police, and, you know, just being that kid on the outskirts, watching these situations going down. And, you know, I mean, so the activism was not something that he had to, like, you know, adapt to. Like, that was in him from very early. And even his father, you know, who came from Eritrea, was involved in an independent struggle in his native land, you know, and it really came to America seeking asylum from a 30-year war between, you know, the government of Ethiopia and Eritrea, which is a whole deep situation that, you know, there's a whole chapter in the book about Eritrea, and that his father brought him back to his homeland, you know, at a pivotal moment in Aramis and Sam's were both, you know, living the life in the Crenshaw district and, you know, on different paths, but their father felt a strong need to bring them into contact with the other side of their family and show them another way of life and show them, you know, what would become like a life-changing experience. That's what Nipsey said to me when I spoke with him. It was a life-changing experience to go back home, as he called it, home, you know, and he made
beautiful.
A journey there.
He knew his roots.
Yeah. Yeah. He was there for 3 months, you know, and I think he was reluctant to spend so long there when his dad first brought it up. But if you ever see those videos of him on YouTube, you know, he looks like he's dressed straight off the block with the oversized tee and cap, and you know, and he was playing his music.
Look at the time.
Yeah, he played his music. Like he brought, you know, he had demos. He was already rapping at that point, and he would play his records at a local record shop, in Asmara, the capital city, and he said to that person in the record shop, you know, one day you're gonna know about me. I'm gonna be a famous rapper.
Wow.
Yeah.
But he just has so many of those visions, you know, which he pushed through. He said what he wanted to say, and he made it happen.
Exactly.
You know, and you gotta love that. I also, once again, I had the pleasure of being able to go out there, and I went to the visual, and I got to see the memorial for him and everything. And I mean, like 2 days before they took it down. I was able to go into the Marathon store before it closed and just walk around. I was with Cowboy, actually.
Wow.
He was my guide, and Karen Civil. And I know while putting the book together, you worked with a lot of his family and friends, Karen as well. Yeah. What was that experience like, learning about him from the people closest to him?
Well, that was what was most important to me, was to not have this be like a industry viewpoint or you know, like any kind of record label narrative. You know, I wanted to get right back to foundation. And, you know, as you mentioned, Karen Civil was, you know, a business partner of Nips at the Marathon Agency, and she was, you know, integral to me being able to speak with Black Sam and speak with Samantha, Nip's sister. And so, you know, shout out to Karen. She's acknowledged in the
big shout out.
Yeah.
Big help.
Yeah.
Big.
And, you know, it was just one by one, I spoke with people who were a part of his inner circle. And, you know, it was a matter of winning people's confidence one by one. And it was no big, you know, like publicist thing pushing this. It was all just individual conversations. And, you know, I'm proudest of the fact that people like, you know, Cuzzy Capone and Jay Stone and, you know, BH.
The homies.
Yeah.
The homies.
Pac-Man. Yeah. You know, as a matter of fact, I want to shout out Pac-Man the Gunman, because this is a bit of a exclusive. I'm going to let y'all know that tomorrow Pac-Man will be releasing a new record called Zero Tolerance, which produced by Mike and Keys and featuring Nip Hussle and Mozzie. And when I tell you record, it's a hard record. He's had it tucked for a while, and he's about to unleash that on the world. He let me know that last night, actually. And so, you know, Pac-Man is a good example of, you know, the fact that Nip was about to elevate to becoming, you know, a boss on a different level. He was already a boss in so many ways, but what was about to happen after Victory Lab did what it did, he was about to really be that, you know, No Limit of the West. He was about to be that, you know, like he was calling Rallo Styles, one of his day one high school friends, and saying like, we got work to do. We got a new studio, and we're going to be putting the Pac-Man project together and the J Stone project. And, you know, the whole All Money In original Slauson Boys crew was about to get busy. And
he was ready to put him on his back, and then like, all right, y'all, we in the room, let's go. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, obviously the tragedy of March 31st threw a lot of these plans into disarray, but it's beautiful to see that the marathon don't stop, and these young men are all still making music, inspired by their big homie. And, you know, when you hear this record tomorrow, you'll feel the energy. It's a hard record. It's a different sound, you know.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. How did you feel about finding out how he was as a father?
Well, that was, yeah, I mean, heartbreaking, inspiring. You know, conversation there's a conversation he had with Steph Curry, if you've ever seen it, where he's riding around talking about, you know, the importance of being there for his kids. And, you know, the conversation that he had with Imani every day. He would drive her to school as often as he could, and he would talk about, you know, a daily script that they would go through, which is in the book, about, you know, being a leader and being independent minded. And, you know, he put so much into those kids. Another thing that I found very touching was, you know, he worked very hard, you know, being a self-made mogul, having all these records that he, you know, was making, and businesses that he was running. So he couldn't always be there for every, you know, school event. And, you know, he didn't miss birthdays, he didn't miss Christmas and so on. But there was a lot of little moments that, you know, it hurt him to not be there for. And so he made a decision to bring Imani in the studio while he was working on Victory Lap. And he said, you know, he watched old Bob Marley videos. He was a big Bob Marley fan, actually. He would see in those videos of Bob, there was always kids running around in the background. Wow. And it dawned on him that, you know, you can't separate your family from the studio at the time, because they're just, you're not going to be in their life otherwise. So he would have a special place, and he would tell people, you know, my daughter's going to be in the studio, so we're not going to talk a certain way, and we're going to have respect. And, you know, but it was just something that he made an active effort every day. And you know, at the Victory Lap launch event in LA, Imani actually joined him on stage while he...
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Everyone, y'all got to go check that video out. That was just amazing, man. Like, I'm a girl dad, so I got 3. So I understand what that feeling is like, man. When you have them in your space and people are showing you love, they get to see all the hard work that you do and why you miss these things and all that. And then you bring them into your world, and they see that, they understand it on a different level, you know.
And it was just something that Lauren London revealed on the anniversary of Victory Lap recently. This is not in the book. I knew that she is the voice between tracks saying Victory Lap. But what she revealed on her social media very recently is that when she was in the vocal booth doing that, their son Cross was literally on her hip while she was laying those vocals down. So, you know, the spirit lives on in his kids. And, you know, it's one of the sad parts of the story that, you know, they have lost their dad. And, you know, and I just want to mention, not because it's you know, a business deal or anything, but, you know, I made a decision to donate a portion of the proceeds from this book to the family. It's an unauthorized book. Nobody signed off on the book. They, I'm sure, will do their own projects. I believe there's a documentary in the works that the family is producing. Actually, one of my former Mass Appeal colleagues is working on it now, and I know it's going to be very special. But this book was my effort to just present Nip, you know, as a music journalist, to present him in the context of hip hop history, in the context of LA history and American history, because, you know, as a music journalist, you understand the early career of an artist needs to be documented. And I was shocked when I really checked it. There were no decent magazine profiles of him, with the exception of the GQ piece on Lauren and Nip, which is a beautiful article and amazing photos and everything. But just those, like, fundamental profiles, like we did the one page,
like the deep, like the deep ones. Yeah,
we did so many interviews, and there were wonderful, amazing interviews all over YouTube with big outlets and little around the way video bloggers. And I don't think he ever said no to a video interview, but the profiles were not done, and that's why it was important to me. This is my contribution. I feel like I'm just laying the founding blocks of a pyramid that will be built over time, and a lot of people are going to be talking about Nip and writing about him. But anyway, even in that, although it's not an authorized book that I did in collaboration with the state, I just felt a personal responsibility to donate part of the proceeds. So
that's what's up, man. And before we wrap up, man, because this has been amazing, but before we wrap up, I just want to find out, after this whole process and doing this book, I did read, and I believe it was in the thank yous, you said this was like one of your most exhaustive events of your career, to actually pull all of this together and document someone's life. what was his life in this process of making this book? What kind of impact did it have on your life?
Oh, that's an excellent question. You're good at this, Datwon. Well, one thing that happened is that I don't, you know, for whatever reason, I lost about 70 pounds while I was writing this book. I've been an overweight dude for most of my life. I'm probably not as slim as I could be, but you know, I changed my whole regimen while doing.
You looking mad younger. You looking crazy younger right now, man.
Thank you. Thank you. It was something that I don't know, like the whole. I mean, as you know, this last couple of years in the world has been crazy. You know, this book was completed during the pandemic, during the George Floyd uprising around the world, and you know, just realizing that this was a story that the world needed to hear, weighed heavily on my mind and on my shoulders and the responsibility. So, you know, every morning I was up early. I drank lemon water, you know, organic lemons with boiling water every morning. And I would pray every morning. I prayed to my late mother. The book actually came out on her birthday, which was not
love.
The book is dedicated to my late father. I prayed to my ancestors. I prayed to some of the artists whose lives have touched my life and loved ones. Yeah. You know, it just, I can't explain it, but I went into a different zone, and hearing Nip's voice, the lyrics, the interviews every day around the clock, you know, the hours that go into writing a big story. Yep. But then when you're like weaving it together and telling a whole epic tale in the history of LA and the history of, you know, what these neighborhood organizations are really about. And, you know, it was a lot, man. It was a lot. The most challenging thing I've ever attempted. And I pray that it will be found worthy. And I want to share one other thing. I haven't talked about this much. Yesterday, I was on a Zoom call with a bunch of professors and grad students and a dean at Howard University. And they informed me that they're going to start teaching this book. And
wow,
you know, I have no words for that.
Come on, man.
That was very humbling. And there's going to be an event for Howard students to participate in a Q&A on April 12th, I believe it is. I'm sure details will be forthcoming. But, you know, things like this is exactly what I wanted. Was, you know, Nip was an avid reader. Nip was a sponge for knowledge. Although he did not complete high school, he educated so many people around him, changed the lives of so many people that he came in contact with. Changed my life, to be real. You know, not because I wrote this book, but just the convo that we had around Victory Lap. You know, it made me think a lot about, you know, his approach to the music industry is based on the idea that the rules were not made by the artists and creators. They were made by business-minded people to extract the most benefit from the creators, you know. And I thought about my life and, you know, just tried to make some changes in different ways. And, you know, it's just crazy. And let's not forget, everybody knows the tragic anniversary coming up, March 31st. But I'm really more focused on March 30th. This March 30th, 2021 will be 5 years since the record FDT released.
Wow.
And, you know, Nip was a uniter, not a divider. And
that's real.
He saw candidate Donald Trump trying to divide the world and America based on race and demonizing Mexicans, demonizing people of color. And him and YG, who were involved in uniting the streets of LA, coming from different neighborhoods, different sets that were not supposed to be friends. They showed through demonstration that was such an important record in so many ways. And, you know, although Trump did get elected, as we know, FDT was streamed millions of times on election day 2020. And so I think we can thank them for, you know, helping to lead the resistance and get that guy out. So
yes indeed, bro. Yes indeed, man. Like, this has been amazing, Rob. This is a long time coming. We talk almost every day.
I know.
Which is so crazy. And I gotta give it to you, man. Like, just before the pandemic, we were in Jamaica with Buju.
True.
You know, we were sitting, loving life, looking at everything that was around us, just being blessed, but hearing these little like notes about, hey, this is going on, this is going on. This is in February, everybody. Rob, myself, Reshma, yes, Argat.
Oh, she's in the comments.
She's in the comments. Yes, yes, that's the high priestess. Much love. I just felt like I was sitting with one of my brothers and someone that's seen me grow within this, and I've always admired your career and your standing within the game, and you're just always the class act, man. And to be able to put this book together and get the kind of love that you're getting, these are those flowers that you deserve. Our man Johnny Nunez was just in here saying how much he loves you and how much you deserve this, man. So I just want to say thank you so much. We're going to support this book. Everybody go order it right now. I know a couple of people in here, they said that they got their book on the way today and this week. So much love, man. Anything you want to say to the people before we out?
I just want to say thank you for the love and the support. Thank you, Datwon, for, linking Boom Shots and Vibe. Again, we got a lot more work to do this year. We're going to keep blazing the fire. And,
yes, sir.
With the Skip Marley doc that we just premiered the other day. Get higher.
Y'all rock that, man. Y'all rock that. Everybody go to vibe.com and check out the mini doc that Boom Shots put out. Rob and Rush, y'all did an amazing job on that. It's right on the site, so go check it today.
But with the Marathon Don't Stop, right now, I would love for everybody that cares about Nip Hussle, everybody that's just hearing about this, please go get that book. It would be a blessing to see this book hit the bestseller list and just let people that have no clue about why this man is important say, what's this all about? Just like when the memorial service happened, they're like, why did this rapper have a big memorial service? Why is Obama writing a letter? Why is Stevie Wonder and Snoop Dogg eulogizing this man? There's a lot of people that need to hear his message. We're living in a divided world. There was a violent coup attempt against the United States Capitol 2 months ago. A lot of people that felt that way are still out there feeling that way. And, I think if Nip was here, he would be helping to unite all the divided people. And so I think the world needs this message right now. And I would love to see more people tap into that. And I'm going to leave it at that, man. Thank you so much, Day Dog.
Of course, bro. One love. Boom Shots, we out.
Enough respect.
Peace, bro.
All right. Love.
Respect.
Yeah.